What's up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph motion graphics tutorial. I am Matt Milstead, and today we are going to be having some fun, just doing some really simple dynamic camera movements in Cinema 4D. Also, as well as the tutorial, I am giving out for free this fun 3D model that I did of a Nintendo Entertainment System, along with the controller and Kung Fu game. So yeah, you can download that this model for free from our website, Brograph.com. And let's go ahead and get into this dynamic camera movements. So let's go ahead and open Cinema, and here you've got my Nintendo Final, and you can see I've got the Nintendo along with the game tray and the lid. So the lid's here, so if you guys want to play around with it, you know, you can actually make the lid open and close. And then same with the game tray, you can actually make that go down and up, along with you could throw that game in there if you want. So, but in this tutorial, we're going to be going over dynamic camera movements. So I've got this scene, and there's a couple different ways that you can do things. Our good friends over at Reddit are doing a competition this month where it's a fly-through type thing. So that's why I figured I'd do this tutorial to show some of the newbies out there some fun and interesting ways to do the camera movements. Well, let's start off with one that I learned about just recently. I was watching some of the Cinema 4D SIGGRAPH stuff at work, and the guys who did the ending sequence for Pacific Rim actually showed off this this neat little thing that came out in Cinema 14, R14. It's called the camera morph. And I've ever since I got introduced to it, I've been really utilizing it a lot in my animations because it makes for easy tweaks, and it'll allow you to create these really pretty dynamic camera movements with very little keyframing involved. So I'll show you how that works. So first of all, we're going to create a camera. And then on that camera, we're going to create a keyframe. We'll go ahead and start it at 0. And let's say this is our ending place. You know what? Let's make it look a little... Oh, thanks. We'll disregard that. Let's see. So hopefully I got enough space to record. Okay, ignore what just happened. Now let's go ahead and change this up. Let's make this, say, our ending point. So we're going to go ahead, click on our camera, and create a keyframe there. All right, and let's rename this camera. We'll call it ending camera. Okay, now what we're going to do is click off of there, and then we're going to pick somewhere else, somewhere that looks pretty interesting. Like, let's go ahead and get right up on the cartridge, and then we're going to create another camera and set a keyframe at 0, and we're going to call this starting camera. Now what's great is you've got your starting position and your ending position, and by clicking on the two of those and creating a camera morph, what it's going to do is it's going to automatically create the movement between the two. And all you have to do now, let's add an extra 30 frames here, all you have to do is create a keyframe here and a keyframe wherever you want your ending part to be, and blend it to 100%. And you'll see you get this really dynamic, smooth camera movement with very little work and very little keyframing. That's one of my favorite things about using this in cinema, is the camera morph. One great thing that I really like about the camera morph is, let's say for example we want to change something. We want to change our starting point. Well, let's just go back to our starting camera, come over here, say we want, let's move over to the controller. Alright, let's get like a extreme close-up on the directional stuff. Alright, and then all you gotta do is change your keyframe, and then boom, camera morph already creates it for you, creates the movement for you. Really great. One more fun thing about the camera morph that I really like. Let's go back to this starting one, and then let's get all up inside this thing. So it's not really showing much. Let's get right here up to the power and the reset. Now you can also change your focal length. So say you've got a super wide angle, it will automatically change between your focal lengths. So from your super wide angle, and you can kind of see that the vertigo type thing going on in the background there, but it's changing from a 15 millimeter lens to a, I believe it's a 36 millimeter. 36 millimeter, yeah, automatically. You can also do this to create depth of field. So you can create your starting depth of field and your ending depth of field, and your camera morph will automatically create that depth of field for you, which is great because it's saving you so many keyframes. Alright, so another fun thing that we can do now that we've learned about the camera morph, another fun one is the align to spline camera movements. So right here, I am going to create a helix. Now, let's go ahead and make this a bit smaller. And then we want a couple less rotations. And then we want it to be a little bit smaller there and there. Let's see, less rotations. We'll start from the back. Oops, this is really high. Now on the Nintendo, I worked in actually a real world scale, so that is actually a real Nintendo. Now let's go ahead and make this a spline by hitting C, and then we can kind of easily adjust this. Now we want it to end. You'll see the ending point right here. We want that to end where the Nintendo would be. Kind of right there. Now let's move this down. And what's great is once we create a camera, we'll say just here, and then we don't even need to make any keyframes, I don't think. We're going to add a tag, Cinema 4D tag, and we're going to do align to spline. And then we are going to choose the spline path, the helix. Actually, you know what? I did not want to do that. Let's take a few steps back. I wanted to create a target camera because I want the target actually to be the Nintendo right here. If I can get it to click on it. Target, target. Let's click there. Okay, cool. Now, under tags, we're going to do align to spline. And this spline, we're going to click on our helix. So now you see the position as we go from 0 to 100, pretty much like that. So what's cool is once we get that, we can actually change our helix, like the size, and it automatically changes our camera too, and our position of our helix. So as we go here, we can create a keyframe here for 0%, and then we'll go up to 90, and we're going to make that 100. Now we want, say we want this to be a little bit closer in, all we have to do is actually just change our helix a little bit to be a little bit smaller, and then let's move it down to really make that good and even. There we go. So now you'll see as we hit play, because we've got those two keyframes, does this cool little 360 rotation around the Nintendo. Now what's great is with the align to spline, you can actually go through and create your own dynamic camera movements using the bezier, the B spline. Just for example, I'll show you. Let's go to our top view, and we'll go ahead and create a bezier spline, just a real quick one, to like here. You'll see we'll add that curve on there. So in our camera, then when we go, we just change our spline path to this one, and then once it gets to 100%, you can see right here, boom, automatically creates that movement for us. And that's basically it. I mean, those are easy ways to create some super dynamic camera movements within Cinema 4D. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I really hope you guys can get some use out of this model. I spent a good amount of time on it, so I think it turned out all right. You know, and the cartridge is the right size; it'll fit right in there, and you can do some animations for that. On the controller, you've got the controller, and you've also got all its own individual buttons. So this was kind of fun. You can go into your directional pad and change the rotation to actually make it look like it's, you know, moving with the stuff. And then the A button and the B button, those can get pressed down as well. So if you guys want to do whatever animations, I'd love to see what you guys come up with. Send us an email or hit us up on Facebook or Twitter, and I'll have this up on the website, Brograph.com. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.